Thursday, November 21st at Bearscott Stadium. Saw Bearscott last night. Saw Dewey last night. Also saw Jackass Jay last night. He got ejected from trivia for complaining too much. Wasted his flag. That was fun. Then he ejected himself. Last night's feature presentation was a film I've been waiting to see for 2 years now. Mindreader 2022. The newest film from one of my favorite directors, Rich Cristiano. I watched a lot of his films during the September month. First part of October. The Christian film director. Now this one came out in 2022, but he milked it enough to try to get people to buy to purchase the DVD, to go pay to see it in theaters at the select locations, and all these other little things, before finally putting it out on YouTube with a ton of commercials. So you got to suffer through skipping through a lot of commercials for this full-length feature. It runs 81 minutes, so it's not terribly long, but it feels longer than that. This one, going into it, I had good expectations, and the one thing I was very disappointed about was when I looked on the cast listing, I saw that none of Cristiano's stable of horses from his previous films were in this. Like, usually he has some callbacks, kind of his buddies that appear in these films. Look at this, guys. Bearscott Stadium. Someone came through here with a leaf blower. They never cease to amaze me here at Bearscott. Look at that. Nice clean path back here. For example, even in The Time Changer 2002, he brought back, Kevin Downes for one, but he brought back Crystal Robbins, who played Dana back in The Pretender in 1987. So just stuff like that. But nobody from his past films was in this. But I still went into it like, this is going to be good. This is going to be, and I saw an interview about it where where Cristiano was talking about it, and I saw the trailer. It looked good, and I thought this would be one that is a pretty good film, but it still has kind of that charm to it, of like kind of the Cristiano charm, similar to The Time Changer 2002, which is a really good film for more lower end budget, and it's really interesting, and it's a time travel film, but it still has a little bit of that charm with the repetitive dialogue, some bad dialogue, and some kind of less than stellar acting. So I thought this would be kind of in line with that, and I enjoyed the first maybe hour or so of it. So it's about some guy back in the 70s, I think it's like 1974, mid-70s. They're called the Great Dexter, and I forget the actor who plays him, but I really like the actor who plays him. I really like his performance. He goes to this kind of magic theater, and he can read, does little tricks with the audience where he reads their minds, and then the association of the theater and the magic, whatever this made up crap was, sees him as a threat for some reason, like, because he doesn't deny the supernatural. Okay, and so then they kill him at the end. They don't show it, but there's a big thing where they're telling him to deny the supernatural. But the whole thing's supposed to be a parable, okay? And he's supposed to be, he's supposed to represent Jesus. And then there's this woman who's supposed to named Judy. He's supposed to represent Judas. The association is supposed to represent the high court and, Pilate and all that. And if you go into this film, most of the people who go into this would be like Christian viewers anyway, so they would try to, you know, discern this themselves. But where the movie, where it loses it for me is where they go. The movie ends, and then they show the people leaving the theater, like there's college kids who just watched the Mindreader, and then it follows these kids going back into the dorms and stuff, and then this one kid who's like a Christian, like, has a chance to witness to his buddies and explain the movie to them, and it's just really lazy. It's really bad. I cannot stand like exposition in films like this. There's no reason for them to do it this way. Like, but they go through this, I mean, it's like 20-30 minutes of this whole thing where this guy's, it's like, you know, it's like this gospel presentation, like, and he explains the meat, like, oh, he's supposed to represent this, and she's supposed to represent that, and the Bible says. It's just very disappointing. Like, the Cristiano film Late One Night 2002 is kind of a parable too, but they don't do this whole exposition thing. It's they have a good ending punchline kind of, and then you kind of figure it out, like, wow, I get what they were trying to say in this film. It's a little bit of a parable film too. So there's no reason to do this. And it's just really annoying. If you really were sensitive towards like non-believer people watching this and who were not familiar at all with the with parables, like the stories of Jesus, okay, fine. Then you could do something like show throughout the film, like after a scene, maybe put a verse up, because that's what they did at the beginning of the film. They put a verse about, and he spoke to them in parables, and so that was it. But you could do that through the film and kind of reference little things, maybe not so long, but, you know, kind of enough there to make people think, oh, okay, this means that, but to kind of explain it. But to do that whole like ending part was just really ruined the film for me. And there's some charm to it because it comes off like that. Those last 20 minutes remind me a little bit of his film Into the Harvest, 1994, which I like a lot. 97. I like that film a lot. With the whole like college dorm thing, and you're missing, you know, making the most of your opportunity to witness. And there's this whole, that's the whole theme of, he has that recurring theme in his films going way back to The Pretender, 1987. This whole, like, you know, importance of witness, and like, so it was kind of cool to see that. And then some of the dialogue with the repetitive stuff, that was certainly there. And definitely there were some things that reminded me of Late One Night, 2002 or 2001. But I do not recommend watching this film. If they had just ended it with the guy before, at the part before they show the people like walking out of the theater, and then it cuts to the whole thing about the college kids, that would have been fine. Okay, let the audience figure it out themselves. A little bit insulting, I think, to do that whole explaining the movie thing, and it was like he just couldn't resist having to explain it. So that's last night's feature presentation. We have one person hanging out here. Sorry, I got a little caught up in my review, but look around at the trees here. It's Bearscott. This feels like, this is definitely Thanksgiving feel out here today, and I definitely plan on coming back next week. Like maybe Thanksgiving Eve. And in the past, it's been we've had some kind of warm days here during that kind of Thanksgiving week time. But today it's in the low 50s. It's gonna get to like 55 today. Water temperature at the beach area today. Last couple of days has settled at 58.8, kind of hanging there. And then today we had a weird uptick to 59 even. So it's like the last gasp of the beach area clinging to that like little uptick time, but it's that this is has to be the last day of an uptick until like maybe late March. It's got to be, because we're gonna have some nights in the 30s, and it's gonna be an interesting thing to watch to see how far it dips, say by Thanksgiving, just by like a week. So the next Monday, real feel 66 at the beach area. So, but it's not happening, guys. And then after that, we're like looking at, even though it's like that December day that I talked about is now dropped to like high 40s. So huge drop. I think we're gonna get a cold beginning of December for Richmond standards. So, all right, just a little update on the beach area. But we also haven't been to Rio in over a month now. So Rio, probably maybe been a while since I've been to Rio. Rio's over. So, all right, guys, this is Scotty Stadium, and it's time to power walk. Let's take a look at the grass quick. All right, so the grass is like greenish over here, kind of on the end. So we haven't gotten the color that we saw yesterday at the big soccer field area. So we still see some green here, but definitely a lot of that gray coming in too. That tan coming in too. Beautiful day though, beautiful skies here on November at Scott Stadium.